Layoff is something which is not something very new to us. We have been hearing about this news from a couple of months, and we could see some big giants like Apple, Microsoft, Google. They all are laying off their employees in big numbers. Right? So this is certainly an important situation which we really need to take into consideration to see if there's someone among us who has been laid off, or someone from your family members or nearby has been laid off, how we can actually go and help them to overcome this situation and bring them back. How bad is the situation in terms of layoffs? We are going to understand this situation by looking at certain data which is available to us from a source, which I will be sharing with you. And we will try to understand that is this layoff are only limited to certain countries, or it is happening all over the world? What kind of companies are actually doing the layoff? Is the layoff happening only in IT industry, or almost every industry is being impacted? Right? So we will try to find out the answer to all these questions in a couple of minutes. And after that, we are also going to talk about if one of you or one of us has been impacted by a layoff situation, then how do we deal with that? What should be our next course of action, and which will bounce back us to the more better comfortable situation? Right? So let's look at the data now. So here we could see some interesting data in terms of how bad is the layoff happening all over the world. So here on the screen, if you see, we have got to see the name of the companies, the location, and the laid off. So you could see the recent data, which you could see 12,000 employees has been laid off by Google, 11,000 by Meta, 10,000 has been from Amazon, 10,000 plus Microsoft, 8,000 from Salesforce, Amazon, again 8,000, and so on and so forth. So these are the number of different layoffs which are being reported from all over the world. Right? So this certainly gives us a very, very clear indication that how is the layoff in the industries taking place all over the world. Look at some more data. We were talking about these layoffs, whether these layoffs are taking place only in certain industry, or it's same with every industry. So let's check this data as well. So here we go and see the data in which industries how much layoffs is happening. So here you could see a very clear data which talks about that the industries, if you see aerospace and industry, there were 661 people have been laid off. Construction with 3,933, consumer with 42,198, which is very, very high in this consumer durable industry, followed by 9,929 in the crypto industry, data 3,314. Education industry has also been impacted by 11,574 layoffs all over the world, followed by some more interesting. If you see here data again, finance industry has also seen a lot of layoffs. And if you see the data count here, see, so how many companies have reported these many layoffs? We could see 252 companies have done the layoff of 24,300 people, and so on and so forth. Right? So we could see now none of the industry has been spared from this layoff. Right? Real estate again, 16,000 employees has been laid off globally by 111 companies. Right? So I think these numbers are certain. And retail, if you see, those industry is the one of the highest job giver in the industry globally. But here we could see these numbers are certainly not so encouraging. Right. So here we are able to get to see a very clear indication that these layoffs are taking place all over the industries, not only limited to IT or ITES. Let's look at some more data. Now, in which all countries this layoffs has been taking place? Is this only limited to India, US? But here, when you see the data here, it's very, very clear that the countries which are impacted by these layoffs, like Argentina, 723 people, Australia again 1,434, Austria by 570, Bahrain 0, Belgium 0, Brazil, Bulgaria, name a country, right? Canada 5,963. Right? China 4,705. There'll be some more data which will be coming up. 33,413 people have been laid off in India. Right? If you want to see who are these companies, certainly we can go and check as well. We could see the companies which come into the picture are Swiggy, Medibuddy, Exotel, Go Mechanic, ShareChat, Gramophone. You see, there are so many companies are here, right? Unacademy, Dukan, Byju's. I mean, these are very big places. Same goes with Vedantu, and so on and so forth, right? So here also we are able to see that it is the whole world is seeing the impact of, I could say, the layoffs, right? This data we have got for almost every country, more or less everywhere. Got it? United States, oh my God, 2,20,019 people. Very big number, very big. Let's look at some more data. So these layoffs which are taking place, they are taking place in small companies or some sort of big companies. So we could see here the companies which are in their some funding stage. If you see here, empty stage is 322 employees, seed funded companies 1,500, Series A funded companies 5,000, Series B, Series C, Series D. Then you could see and companies from all over the world are getting some sort of funding and they are laying off people. 11,176 in Series E funding they are being laid off. Series D funding 18,020 people. Right. Along with that, you could see the companies who have given their released their IPOs, they are also being laid off. 1,51,685 people. Right. There are some big numbers wherein the layoffs came from the companies that was acquired by some bigger companies. We'll see. Right. And if you really want to see some more data in terms of how much capital they all have raised and still they are doing the layoffs, here you could see the very beautiful numbers, the amount of money they have raised from various funding stages. Right, Series H funding $91,391, and they have done the layoff. Now let's try to analyze why these layoffs are taking place. Listen to this.
Welcome back. Now, Baiju Ravindran, the founder of Byju's, has written a letter to employees after announcing more than 2,500 of them are going to be laid off. The EdTech company posted losses of more than 4,500 crore rupees, and as part of a restructuring plan, it has promised to turn profitable by March next year. Manna Chuk and Arundhati Ramanan bring you this report.
Nearly 3 weeks ago, EdTech unicorn Byju's announced plans to lay off 2,500 employees in a phased manner driven by their intent to achieve overall profitability by March next year. Now, the founder and CEO Baiju Ravindran has sought forgiveness of these 2,500 employees that make up around 5% of the company's 50,000 strong workforce. He says, and I quote, "I am truly sorry to those who will have to leave Byju's. You are not just a name to me. You are not a number. You are not just 5% of my company, you are 5% of me." He calls the move a huge price to pay for the path to profitability, and while he says that it breaks his heart, he tries to explain. Byju's rapid growth over the past 4 years has created some inefficiencies and redundancies within the organization, which they now seek to remove with this massive round of layoffs.
All right. So this is one of the news which came from Byju's that why they are doing the layoff. So it is pretty simple that during the pandemic they saw a huge surge in the online work, and they have recruited a lot many people at that point of time, thinking that this momentum will keep on continue even when the pandemic is over. But unfortunately, this didn't happen, and now the companies realize that they need to really correct this situation by laying off people which were hired at the time of pandemic. Let's look at another news and see what we have to see.
Giant planning to slash 12,000 jobs just days after Microsoft made its own cuts. Rebecca Jarvis is here to break it down for us. Good morning, Rebecca.
Nice to see you, Michael. Good morning. And this is a difficult day at Google. The CEO announcing those cuts in a note to employees that the tech giant is cutting 12,000 workers. It is the latest round of layoffs that impact technology jobs. As you say, Michael, earlier this week, Microsoft said it would be laying off 10,000 of its employees as well. And the companies join a number of others in their industry, including Facebook parent Meta, Netflix, Tesla, and Amazon, who increased hiring during the pandemic on this assumption that the massive growth they were seeing as people were stuck at home would continue to stick around after the economy reopened. Well, so far we have not seen a spillover into other areas of the economy, but that is a concern as more and more tech companies cut back. Michael?
Yeah, definitely some unfortunate news there. Thank you, Rebecca.
So till now, we have seen what were the reasons behind the layoffs which are taking place. Now the damage has been done. Now, if you are one of the person who has been laid off, or there is someone in your family who has been laid off from the job, now how do we deal with this? Now this is quite important, a very emotional situation, and whatever I would say may not be the right solution for you, but I personally feel keeping the hopes high will certainly give you a path to move ahead further. Life is not going to come to the end because of this one layoff. Right? So first thing first, if you are being laid off, I recommend that please be calm. And if you're not able to keep yourself calm, you try to practice some sort of meditation, some sort of a yoga, which will certainly keep your blood pressure and other things in a control. Because unless you're not in your control, you won't be able to think through what you should be doing next to deal with this situation. I strongly recommend, so please be calm and meditate to keep your mind, body and soul into one place. That's very important. Secondly, I'll say do not take this layoff as any personal thing. It's not something, only you have been chosen by God that you are going to be punished by it. Not like that. There are various reasons, various factors which are part of this layoff procedure. Right? But when I say this, I'm not really saying that you do not take it personally. But when I say this, all I want to say is, do not just get involved and feel that you are the victim of this whole thing. And because of that thought, you try to punish yourself. Because please understand, it's not only you. There are many people's lives are being linked with your life. But one thing I am certainly going to tell you is that you should always now, when you are laid off, sit back at home and think what went wrong. You as a person, when you are at workplace, I'm sure maybe in your own team, it's assuming there were people of 10 members, right? Maybe out of 10 members, 2 people were retained and rest 8 were being laid off. Right? So what was that which made those 2 people stick in the company? If you can really just think, sit and check what you did, what you didn't do, what you did might not wasn't able to reflect the true potential of you being an employee, right? So the point is, you have to go and take the learning out of that and see that you should not repeat that if that is a mistake in your future career. Maybe, for example, I could tell you some reasons might be, maybe you're doing a very hard work, but your hard work is not being seen by the management. Because you are not a person who wants to shout loud that you are doing some A, B, C, D things in the company. Because you feel like you are just a performer and you keep doing your job, do not focus on doing other thing. Right? You might think this is correct, this is good, but ultimately the person who's going to take a decision who needs to be retained in the team or who needs to be taken out, if the company is not having the specific parameters to judge or evaluate your performance, and if the judgment is going to be done by a certain people basis certain superficial information, certainly it's not a great company, or I could say it's not a right metrics to decide or who should be retained and who should be laid off. But in which ways, the learning here which I say is, if you think that you are not able to promote yourself into the organization, then I think that is also kind of learning curve you have to go through and see what the best you can do to at least let the people know that you are on a certain task, you are doing certain important piece of work, and it's very important. So ultimately, there's a very bad old saying is that, right? The crying baby gets the milk. In the similar way, if you do not tell about what you're doing, I hope people won't get the attention towards your job. Right? So I think I could say from this incidents in your life, just think what else you can change within you so that in your next job, you are not able to repeat the same thing again. And at least you're able to create some remarkable presence of yours in the organization. Right? Now, the next I say is, now you have already been laid off. So better you should start monitoring your financials and prioritize the expenses till the time you do not have any job in your hand or you do not have any income source in your hand. Because if you are able to keep a control on your finances, because we do not know, I mean, when you are going to get your next job. Is it going to take 1 month of time, 3 months of time, maybe 6 months of time, maybe 1 year? So be ready for those uncertainties. So that at least you can start keeping tab on your unnecessary expenses and try to keep yourself low and manage the financials, all I could say. At least if you are financially not having any burden, you can actually think through very clearly and plan out your next course of action confidently. Right? So keep check on your financials and do not panic. Then I could say, actually, I do not say it actually, right? So from this pandemic, we could see one thing that, if you are the only sole member in a family who is an earning member in the family, I think this is a high time that you should also go and encourage your other family members and equip them or empower them to be ready for taking up the jobs so that you will have an additional source of income in the family. Especially when I say, I'm trying to say with the context to the, like in the families when you're having your wife or your husband who is at home and they are not able to contribute because they feel that their job is only to manage the house. Certainly that's an important stuff, but along with that, because everything we do in the house requires some sort of financial support, right? So it's a good idea that you can also empower them and make them go certain skill based programs or actually trainings which will empower them to be job ready in the industry. I mean, I would like to cite here that in our training program at Strategyworks, wherein we teach digital marketing to the people, in the past few years, I think from pandemic, we have seen a lot many people who have taken our course where they actually the housewives of the families and girls who have done some sort of their basic education, at least graduation, they all were actually coming to us and taking up the courses, the at least a 3 months full-time course what we have, they can have taken up the course. And I could say that almost around 60% of people have actually started doing some home-based job, freelancing work, and some people actually even went out, they started working at the corporates as well. So this is very good indication that, I mean, the housewives whom we feel that they are just going to be supporting the family but not able to contribute financially, I think it is our responsibility to make them, empower them with a certain relevant skill sets which can really make them as an additional earning member in your family. I think you can certainly take it seriously on a serious note and start preparing them for future. Right? right? So then I could also say one thing, that this is a high time for you to also go and invest in learning new skill sets as well. Very important. Maybe you are a software engineer, and being a software engineer, you might have worked on to the, let's say, on various web technologies. It's not a bad idea. You can go and upskill yourself onto data science. You can upskill yourself onto the machine learning. And even though it is a good idea, you can also skill yourself onto digital marketing as well. Because you never know, you being on a technology side doing web development, you can also go and contribute to the company as a tech evangelist. Right? And being an evangelist, a tech evangelist, or being a marketing guy, if you are able to do some sort of contribution from your side to the organization, good. You're actually being able to make an impact to the organization's growth. The company needs people like you. Right? So certainly, I mean, I just said, I mean, a couple of minutes ago, that digital marketing is certainly one of an area which is not only limited to a certain industry or certain class of people. It is actually a very important skill set which can be acquired by any people. And I especially recommend that every person in the organization should have some sort of digital marketing knowledge, whether it could be search, whether it could be social media, whether it could be email marketing or something of that sort. For example, let me tell you a very, very beautiful scenario. If you're working in an IT company as a developer, and you've got a flair of technology, you love technology, you love to talk about technology, right? Actually, you can go and contribute on your company's social media platform. Could be on a Twitter, could be on a YouTube, and you can really talk about your company's innovation and job, what your company is being doing. So by doing that job, you can actually create a content for your organization, and it will help the company to go and do the marketing in a much better way. So why the marketing is only limited to the marketing department, but actually the marketing can be done by every person in the organization. And I strongly recommend that this skill set should be acquired by every person in the organization, at least to a certain extent, that because we all are going to talk about our companies, talk about our work to various people in and around, either on online way or offline way. Right? And as a company representative, certainly we should also take some responsibility to go and talk about company in the positive way to the world, because that is how the company will grow, and certainly you are also going to grow along with that. All right, so good time you should start learning digital marketing to add another skill sets to your learning curve. Along with that, the other thing which can keep you in a good shape is stay away from negative people. Those who are always talking about negative, oh my God, I'm not getting a job, market so tight, so bad. That's okay. But you should really do not get into that negativity. Things will always improve. But the only thing is you have to be keeping your head high and be open to accept anything comes to your hand. Right? So no negative people around. Keep yourself motivated, be happy, keep your health happy, and if possible, at least work out every day. That will lower down your BP and it will keep it healthy as well. Right? The other thing we should have to keep in mind is, which is very important again, is go and network with the people around. But networking is quite important. When I say networking, certainly you should go and approach people saying that, man, I am looking for a job, looking for an opportunity. Please help me out. Because until you do not ask, you will not get it. So go spend time on LinkedIn, go spend time, meet with friends, old bosses, and meet with them. No one is enmity with anyone forever, right? The world is pretty open. Right? Go and seek the help. And certainly, yes, when I say go and take their help, go and be in that manner that, should ask them, sir, I need help. Could you please help me out? Right? Go and ask that one. And I'm sure when you do this job, certainly you are going to get to see some paths, some leads which can move you to go to the right direction. And lastly, I'll say when you were working, you might have been placed or you might be offered a salary which was a couple of lakhs. And today, when the market is very low, the jobs are being cut. And if by any chance somebody is going to offer you an opportunity, so please do not keep a cap on your head that I need salary of X amount only, then I will go and join. Because the fact is, today if somebody is offering you, maybe they will exploit you because they need people like you at a certain amount and you do not want to lower down your cost. But the point is, when today the market is low and there are less jobs are there, and the biggest problem is you never know when your next job, next opportunity will come to you, because you are only not the one person in the industry looking for a job. Like you, there are a couple of lakhs of people on the internet, into the world who are looking for the job opportunity. So if you miss one bus, maybe you do not know when you're going to get the second one, because there's no guarantee. So the point is, whatever comes to you, go and get it. Take it. Because that salary what you get is not something for a lifetime. When the market is going good, better, or if the company itself is growing, they can also offer you better salary, which was what you were getting at before the layoff. Right? So the point is, keep yourself open for any opportunity which comes in, so that it will keep you mentally free, and you can actually focus on to your other part of the career. All right. So these are the things I could tell you, that how you should be dealing with yourself if you are being laid off. Now, the next course of action is, how do you start your next job hunt? So before I talk about that, I would like to show you a couple of things. So till now, we have talked about that how you are going to deal with this layoff taking place, and how you can actually go and make yourself ready for the next event in your life, right? So I'm going to show you some of the resumes which I just saw. I mean, guys, don't take it otherwise. This is just for a reference per se. That how actually you should be making your resume that it will stand out from the rest. Now, here if you look at this one of a resume of a person, guy works at Amazon, software development engineer, Seattle, US, August 20 to present. Now, so here if you see, worked as a Java backend developer, remote car control, this, worked on Alexa end-to-end, designed an API, tech stack, something. So this is on software engineer's resume, and I could see the way he has written his work as a job, like what he has done. Worked as a backend developer, worked on Alexa end-to-end, and this. Okay, look at this guy. Another one, Nissan Digital India LLP, Nissan Motors from Trivandrum, worked as developer robotics, worked on project concept, ETS Fusion, FinApp, and then you could see below these certain skill sets. This is one of a resume which we see. Look at another one. In the resume, the guy has worked with Amazon as a software development engineer, August 19 to present. Forward smart alert to security partner, lead the low-level design, new services, API, using AWS simple notification service, used the CDK, Alexa Smart Home Grad Plus, and so on and so forth. Look at another resume. Right. So DevOps engineer, AWS certified, or solution architect, having a strong inclination towards DevOps, cloud, SRF, and so on and so forth. Education-wise, Boston, USA, technical skills. Experience-wise, I will say this one. Worked with an agile team of 100% internal service stakeholders, QA tester, and you see he has written so many stuff on bi-weekly call or rotation, this. Right? So we are seeing some very, very important data which people are really talking about in their resume. Look at another one. Amazon Web Services Cloud Support Associate, Dallas, Texas, worked alongside the data flow. This. All right. So now what I'm trying to convey here is these resumes what we saw, they all are listing the job activities they have done in the organization. They worked on certain technologies and everything. That's good. But I think that is not sufficient. Today, when we are looking at a hiring, we do not only look at the jobs which you have done in your project, but what we look at is what you have actually brought onto the table as a contribution, as a contributor to the job. So basically, you have to really want to mention or try to identify, or you have to, I could say, substantiate whatever task you have done in the organization. What was the impact onto the organizational growth, revenue growth, company moving up? You have to really go and quantify your achievements. Right? Until unless I do not see a resume talking about their achievements, it will not make you stand apart. Right? Everybody writes, like as you saw one of a resume, they have done, they did 24/7 meeting, they did this, they did that. Everybody's doing the same thing. Then what makes you different? Right? So you have to go and think through creatively, and in your resume, when you go and put your job roles or responsibilities, along with that, you have to also go and mention what was the key contribution you have brought into the company or into that project. There could be 2, 3, 4, 5 different achievements which you brought in, which can be quantified, which can be measured. If a resume is lacking all those things, probably not so good. Please take out time and rework onto that resume and try to quantify your achievements. And if you feel like you're not able to get an idea how to quantify some piece of your job at the work, I think talk to your bosses. They can actually help you understand this element pretty well. Right? And if you think that you need a help from me as well, I am also available. You can take my help. I can assist to guide you how you can actually go and tweak your resume so that it is going to make you stand apart from the rest of the people, and you can get a better opportunity very, very quickly. So when I say this, I really want you to pick up the courage and start focusing on your next course of action, and just work onto this. There's nothing beyond that can be done. And trust your Almighty, and things will fall in place very soon. All the very best. Good luck. And you can always come back to me in case if you need any other help or support from me. Thank you. Bye-bye.